Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone show. I am your co-host, Mr. Stephen Boster, along with the one, the only Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom Land.
And we have an awesome-tacular special guest with us today. We have Derek from the Three Geeky Dads. Derek, say hey to everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome to the fun. This is going to be a good one.
This is going to be a great one.
I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. So, everybody, if you have not checked out Three Geeky Dads podcast, please do so. Guys are a lot of fun. And they just have a great time together. And we've enjoyed connecting with them, and it's just been a blast. So, Derek's here with us to talk about, Mike, I'll let you talk about our topic and stuff. But, Derek, I am so excited that you're here today because I know I'm going to be learning me something today from you.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of Marvel content lately. And,
yes.
And we got a lot of Marvel
Mike.
content.
No, I'm just kidding.
And we got a lot of Marvel content coming up. So I thought we'd take a little break from the Marvel content and go to like my favorite, DC, where I feel comfortable, Batman. So we're going to talk a little Bat family with Derek today because I know Derek is really into the Bat family.
Huge fan. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, this is going to be great stuff.
I look forward to it. Very good. But before we get to that, we got a couple things. We got some news. So news, we have a documentary coming up we got two documentaries coming up. So we have one coming up on Disney Plus, which will be the ILM documentary, which is Industrial Light and Magic. I'm looking forward to that. It looks really good. It looks like they took a lot from the previous makings of Star Wars and so on and so forth. And it sounds like there's going to be a lot of great behind the scenes with the crew and that stuff. Mm-hmm, I know in the trailer, they talk about how George Lucas showed up at the warehouse where they were doing everything, where ILM was housed at that time, and George was quite ticked at them because they were out on a big slip and slide on the parking lot. What are you guys doing? You know how much money you're blowing? Get to work. What's wrong with you? Anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. That just looks like it's going to be great.
You guys like slip and slide? Oh well, I'll go ahead and turn off the water.
You can put the water in post.
That's funny.
I think I'm going to change this water to bubbles. That warehouse is amazing.
Oh,
the one that I've seen a couple shows where they've gone there and looked around and stuff, and the catalog of stuff that they have from the franchise is crazy.
The crazy thing was when the first Star Wars ended, they threw away a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think George learned his lesson from that because somebody ended up with the Death Star model and it ended up like at a disco somewhere. Somebody dumpster dived
covered it in sequins and
But somebody like dumpster dived at ILM and found the Death Star. And well, they're thrown away. Yeah, I'm gonna take this. Why not? I'm gonna put it up in my disco, man. Can't you see John Travolta dancing underneath the Death Star? That would be fantastic, man. So our other news would be another documentary, which we finally decided that's on Hulu Plus. Am I right?
Yeah.
Or
well, it's Hulu Live.
Yeah,
it's Hulu Live. Yeah.
And I forgot the title of that one.
It's Icons Unearthed.
Thank you.
I think.
Thank you. Since our Tito stepped out on us this morning.
You guys stop giving her a hard time.
No, I got to give her a hard time. But anyway, yeah, that one's going to have a exclusive interview with Marcia Lucas, which is George Lucas's first wife. And I'm pretty excited about that because she had a lot to do with the editing of Star Wars, the original Star Wars. She's actually the one who actually came up with the idea of killing off Ben Kenobi. In George's original story, Ben was going to live through the whole thing, and she's like, "No, I think it'd be better if we kill him." So she did. They killed him.
She just didn't like Alec Guinness.
That could be. You know, that's possible because Alec didn't like the movie. So
yeah.
In fact,
yeah. So
there's a story of Alec Guinness meeting with a kid. In fact, it was in, I think, his latest biography or something like this. He met this kid. This kid came up to him and asked him for an autograph and told him how big a Star Wars fan he was. And he went on to tell the kid, "I'll give you an autograph if you make me a promise." And the kid's like, "Sure, anything. I mean, this is Ben Kenobi here, you know? He's one of your childhood idols." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, anything." And Ben looks at him and says, "I will give you an autograph if you promise me you will never watch that movie again." Yeah.
Ouch.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh.
Okay. I'm dumbfounded after that one.
Alec Guinness looked at that as a paycheck. That was a paycheck.
Gotcha.
That was beneath him. And I'm not saying anything bad about Alec Guinness. I think he was a fine actor. I loved him through the the original Star Wars trilogy. He's still one of my favorite characters. He always will be. I just find it funny how bad he looked at the films.
Yeah. You get that a lot with any of like the mainstream geek stuff. Like there's a lot of people who have been in superhero films and other sci-fi stuff that they never want to talk about it again. Like you said, just a paycheck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
yep.
Fred Gwynn, he played Herman Munster. He hated it when people would bring up the Munsters, but let's face it, nobody knew who Fred Gwynn was without the Munsters up until My Cousin Vinny, and then.
Well, for me, it was Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Sometimes
he was great.
Dead is better.
What was that?
No, I was saying sometimes dead is better. I'll tell you what, I don't think he'd like the monsters nowadays either.
Oh, did you see the new trailer?
Oh my god!
I've not seen the trailer for it.
Oh gosh! If you want to see a train wreck, watch that trailer.
Okay.
When
and
I heard
this is coming from a Rob Zombie fan. Like I dig his movies. I like him. I've always liked it. I've been a fan of his music, and I was so excited. I'm like, oh, cool. He's doing the Munsters. He's got a song called Dragula. Like he is a diehard fan.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Dragula.
It's just, it looks so underproduced and like, I know that a lot of directors like to use the same actors. They like their stable of actors. We talk about it a lot, like with Kevin Smith and Martin Scorsese. They all have their stable they go to. But like I just they don't fit, and it looked hokey. Oh God, it looked like something that looked like something that should be like on some type of like cheap website that does their own TV shows.
Yeah,
or
I
something.
agree. I agree. It looks really, really bad. I mean, just the look of it alone looks bad. Now, I did like the opening with the theme music. I thought they did that fairly well. It looked a lot like the original, but man, I don't know. I hate Grandpa's mustache. I think it looks horrible.
So what we're saying that this is not on our Geekdar. Is what you're saying?
No, definitely not. As Monty Python would say, no, wrong. Got to find a good, clean sound clip of that, and then it's gonna be
on Brenda. Brenda just put in the chat that he was also in. Fred Gwynn was also in Car 54. Where are you? That's right.
Nice.
That's before my time.
Just to clarify, my wife watches TV from all the way back in the
TV Land. Is it TV Land still where they show all the old
TV Land? But
it started out as Nick at Night. I remember Nick at Night as a
Nick
kid,
at Night.
watching that show, and like now they're other older shows. That's how I got my exposure to them.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just a kid.
When she and I were dating, when we were dating, I'd go over her house and she was watching Dobie Gillis, and I'm like, "What the heck is Dobie Gillis?" All right, I'll watch it.
This is the 50s version of Archie.
Trouble here. Well, hey, just real quick follow up. Icons on Earth is on Vice TV, and so I tried to go to Vice TV to see if I could get it, and it redirects you to whatever streaming service that you've got to pay for. So you've got to pay for it.
What a ripoff, man!
Right.
Well, I do want. I'm probably going to end up paying for whatever it is because I want to see that interview. I think that'll be really good because she's got some good insight. And let's face it, George tried to erase her, man. He tried to erase her from existence. Kind of like he tried to erase the Star Wars Holiday Special, and it just it doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. And I think Marsh is not going to go away either, to his chagrin.
Right.
All right.
So where are we at? Wait a minute. We're getting into the deep stuff. I gotta go. There we go.
Well, we borrowed a segment from you guys. We kind of stole something from you.
Our geek flag.
Geekdar.
I like that. What's on your Geekdar? I like that.
So here, I'll make it official.
Well, you don't need that, Private. We're right here. Now, what is it? Now, what is it? I'm having trouble with the radar, sir. What's wrong with it? I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps. The what? The what? And the what? You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps. It's not all he's lost.
Oh, the great Michael Winslow.
Brenda corrected me. It's George's ex-wife, by the way. Because Marsha's his former wife. Anyway, so what's on our Geekdar this week? Steven, you said you didn't really have anything this week.
I got nothing, man. So just so everybody knows, I started a new job. Then I'm helping my brother move. And then I'm about pass out by the end of the night. I eat, and then that's it. That's all I've been able to do all
right. We have those kind of weeks, man.
So sleep is on your Geekdar.
That's so true.
Sleep is a good thing to have. I don't get enough of it. So, I understand that. So my Geekdar, I actually started watching the show that you had suggested last week. What list?
Terminal List?
Yeah, the Terminal List.
Terminal List.
That's really good. I
really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed it.
So we started watching that, and I read another part of Deceased. So I'm through
the catching up.
Yeah, I'm through the first two. I'm starting the third one. Third one is so far really good. It's called the Unkillables. And so like Deathstroke is leading this team, and it's just all the members of the DC universe that just can't be killed. So it's kind of neat. And I'm like, oh, I like this.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So like Deathstroke at first, he gets infected. And I'm like, oh crap, I don't want Deathstroke to get infected. And then the healing factor kicks in. And I'm like, oh, that's right. He can't die. I love it.
So how have you liked Deceased so far with the first volume and the second volume?
I highly recommend Deceased. It's a fun story. I mean, if you're into DC characters and you like the zombie genre, it is such an interesting take on the zombie genre because it's so different than anything else, with the fact that you got this whole high-tech aspect that, you know, you can't just, you can change by getting bit, you know, like normal, but you can also change by just seeing tech in general, which just heightens the threat that much more, you know. So I highly recommend Deceased. It's such a great, you know, great series. Really, really
now, have
good.
you read Marvel Zombies already?
I have not.
Okay.
And since I got,
because I was going to ask how it stacks up. I haven't read either.
I need to read the Marvel Zombies. I like the artwork of it.
Hey, what a great idea! So, is Deceased on the app? Deceased is on the app, isn't it?
Deceased is on the app, and
all right,
and
so
Zombies
I'll
is
read
on the
it.
Marvel app.
Yep.
I'll read it, and then we'll do Marvel Zombies and do a comparison episode.
Oh wait, you're gonna read the Marvel Zombies?
We should read both. We should go through both.
Okay. All right. You
and
can.
then we can both comparison contrast. Lots of reading. That will not be next week's episode, everybody, because there's a lot to read. Just so you know.
It is extensive.
Yeah, that'll be a little bit in the future. So here we are planning again on the air.
Right.
Other than that, the only thing I could say is I started watching some old Twilight Zone episodes to gear up for our next classic sci-fi, because our next classic sci-fi is going to be the Twilight Zone the movie, and comparing it to the episodes that inspired the film. So yeah, I went back and since I was looking for Twilight Zone, Outer Limits came up, and I thought, I have never actually watched Outer Limits. And me being the Twilight Zone fan that I am, I'm like, you know, I should check out Outer Limits. So I watched episode 1 of Outer Limits, and I have to say, I prefer the Twilight Zone. First of all, Twilight Zone, I like it because it's a half hour. It's nice and compact. It's a quick story. You know, it's usually really easy to follow, and really gets to the punch very fast. Outer Limits is an hour-long format. I don't think that's right for this style of storytelling. It was dug out, and yeah, I think they should have gave it to Rod Serling, and he should have cut it down to 30 minutes and said, here you go.
Right on.
So yeah, if we're going to compare Twilight Zone to Outer Limits, at least by that one episode, I'm going Twilight Zone all the time.
Right on.
Those are the things on my Geeked. Derek, I know you're a guest, but
yeah,
and hopefully we're not stealing from you guys' show.
No. No, fourth season of What We Do in the Shadows just dropped. It started. The first couple of episodes, and I'm digging it so far. When the last season ended, they kind of the members of the main characters were kind of all going off in different directions, and you weren't sure what was going to happen. And thankfully, like, they pick up, like, I don't know if it's probably not a year, but like a couple months later. And now they're all back at the house that they started in, and so the dynamic is still there. I love those guys. I enjoyed the original mockumentary that Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement did, it just keeps getting good. One of the main guys on it, Matt Berry, plays Laszlo, and I love him. He was the boss on the IT Crowd. And
I've never seen that.
Yeah, and he did another show after that where he's the star, called Toast of London. Those are both on Netflix if you have it, and you check those out because he's a funny guy. Toast of London, he plays a like he's a kind of washed up, actor, and it's him, and he has an agent that's really funny, and it's a funny show, and he's a really funny guy. He's great on this show, and I'm enjoying it so far. The first 2 episodes.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I have to admit, you're going to get mad at me. The only episode I have seen of what we've done in the shadows is where they have the big council and there's all these guests.
Oh, it's that's the best episode of the first season. That's one of the best episodes.
Cracked up, and I said, I've got to watch this show. It is killing me. It's so funny.
Evan Rachel Wood and Blade,
right?
All these different Paul Rubens as Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, that's a good episode. If you're only gonna watch one episode, that's the one to watch.
I've
never watched the show, so I'll have to check it out.
Is funny.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that's what's on our Geekdar. So we should move over to the main event.
Oh, main event. Let's do this.
I need a sound clip for our main event.
Right, we realize that now.
yeah. After 121 episodes,
right? A sound clip would have made it much more betterer.
Cheers. Nice, nicely done.
All right, Mike.
Okay, so our main event is the Bat Family.
Bat Family.
So
yes,
most of us who are Batman fans know that the Batman universe has expanded into what we now refer to lovingly as the Bat Family. And Bat Family, as I've always known it, has been Bruce Wayne as Batman, of course, Dick Grayson, the original Robin, who became Nightwing. Then we have Jason Todd, who becomes the second Robin and then later becomes Red Hood. Then we have Timothy Drake, who becomes Robin. And then there's some Robins after Timothy, but I don't know them. Then we have Alfred. I would consider Alfred part of the Bat Family. Mm-hmm. Would you consider Lucius Fox part of the Bat Family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in the New 52 and Rebirth list. He is listed.
Yeah. Okay. I think the Bat Family, it's anybody who supports them. It's, their system of they're all in the same loop. And with Lucius Fox knowing that Bruce Wayne is Batman and helping him with the tech and all that stuff.
Okay, hopefully this is not a spoiler alert, but I'm just looking at the New 52 and Rebirth list of who all would be the Bat Family.
Okay.
Alfred Pennyworth. It lists him as deceased.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
What?
And they bring him back in other things, like other non-Rebirth and 52 stuff. But yeah, he did die in the comics, but it's DC and it's the comic world, so we don't know how long he's going to stay dead.
Okay.
I know when you said they brought him back, all of a sudden Fred Gwynn's voice went through my head. Sometimes dead is better.
Not with Alfred, though.
Yeah, I know. Alfred's one of my favorite Batman characters, so yeah, not with Alfred. But I don't know. It just went through my head when you said that.
Right.
Well, I'm sure my accent doesn't help.
No, actually, it I don't know. It adds to the Fred Gwynn voice, actually.
I love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I'm a New Englander, so I drop my R's a lot. And
is okay.
We love the accent. I'm from the Midwest. I don't have an accent.
No, I've noticed that. Like, you guys don't really have what most people consider to be like a Midwest accent.
Well, Steven's actually a Southern.
Yes.
So.
I'm actually a Southern boy. Yeah.
Yeah. You can hear the Southern with Steven.
Yeah. Aren't you glad?
I don't know. That was almost northern there, you know. See, part of my family's from Michigan up north, and it's all, you know.
Yeah.
In fact, we went to Sheboygan, Michigan about 10 years ago. I took my wife and daughter up there. That was the first time they'd gotten to meet any of my family from my mom's side. And every other word from my aunt was, you know. And then we'd leave her house and I'd be saying, you know. I couldn't stop.
It's contagious.
It is. It's so contagious. Anyway, continuing with the Bat family. Sorry about that.
Squirrel. I didn't squirrel this time.
Yeah, I squirreled. I'll admit it. All right. So Bat family. So we kind of established a lot of the members of the Bat family. I thought we'd kind of start off with like our favorite Robins. Of course, my favorite Robin's pretty easy. It's Dick Grayson. I've been a fan of Dick Grayson for years. I was a Teen Titans fan growing up in the 80s. We were talking about this a little bit before the show, but I grew up with the Marv Wolfman, George Perez run of the new Teen Titans, and Dick Grayson was the head of the Teen Titans. And that kind of made me fall in love with that Dick Grayson character even more than I already was to begin with, but it was kind of cool because it pulled him out of the Batman universe and into this whole different universe. Yeah. And the Titans are very similar because they have a family aspect to them too.
Yeah. And with Dick being the leader, that was really his transition from being this kid that was, he was under Batman. Now he's the adult. And I think ever since he's been the mature Robin, he's the one that, level-headed and, and he's a born leader. So it's kind of nice that series transitioned him into that. It was
you would think
a good way to make him grow up.
Being trained majority of his life under Batman, he would be a natural leader. I would hope. Although some of the Robins, they didn't quite have that. Jason Todd to be
a lot of different personalities in the Bat family.
Oh, you ain't kidding. Oh my God. Well, the Robins alone, they're so different. Each one is so much different than, Dick Grayson was, he, like you said, he was the more mature one.
Yeah.
Jason Todd was the punk, in my opinion.
Yeah. The black sheep of the family.
Yeah, the black sheep of the family.
I like how you said that. Yeah.
I did not like Jason Todd at all until he came back. Right.
I definitely prefer him as Red Hood. And I really dig the whole, there's a lot of, it creates a lot of friction. He's his son, and he's part of the family, but, he doesn't have a problem killing. And that's, goes against Batman's big, number one rule. And so there's constant friction. And it's like, it's like the black sheep of the family who is around and doesn't necessarily, follow suit with everybody else, but it makes him an even better character. So,
right. So are we saying he's much more better?
Much more better.
Much more better. Cheers.
So, and then we have Tim Drake. Tim Drake is different in his own right. Tim Drake discovered who Batman was on his own. He's kind of the detective.
He's the smartest. Yeah, he's smart, and he's been. They've even said in the comics, like they've admitted he's a better detective than Batman. Like,
intriguing. Yeah. I like that.
And I loved his intro and just how he figured everything out. Although we readers kind of look at it like, how can you not figure it out? But of course, then again, we got the whole Superman thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, taking all those pictures, you'd think Jimmy Olsen would notice,
right? Lois Lane, for that matter. Right. Jimmy, I mean, come on, Jimmy's not kissing him. I hope he's not. It's a little weird.
Well, he might be, and he might just be getting his memory erased. Like,
possible.
like, come on.
Pulls out the MIB's little flashy thing. Here,
Right.
staring at the blue light. Anyway.
And then
So
you have
Tim
Damien.
Drake is.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and I was going to say, is Tim Drake considered Red Robin now? He's listed as Red Robin.
So he became Red Robin, and then he ended up being Drake for a little while, which was horrible and nobody liked it. He just went by Drake, like as in a duck, I guess. I don't know, like it's still in the bird. It's in the bird theme, but it's also his last name, so you're kind of giving away your secret identity.
The only ones
right.
who didn't know that is Duck Dynasty. Come on.
But yeah, he's back to the Red Robin, his own the costume.
Nice.
So.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know much about Red Robin. I know the costume actually looks pretty cool.
I know
like
the restaurant.
Well, there's the old one had the hood. The
Yeah.
new one, he's back to like just the mask, but he's got like the yellow kind of. It looks like an X, but it's like his utility belt is double. He's got like 2 utility belts that go across his chest, and yeah, the color scheme is cool.
So it almost sounds like the character that Robin, Dick Grayson, becomes in the Teen Titans cartoon series.
Yep.
I cannot think of what that character's name was. And I think that character spawned off into the comic books too, or if maybe not the regular one, he's definitely in the continuing adventures of Batman animated series. But man, I cannot think of what that character's name was. Anyway, let's move forward. So I would say Dick Grayson's my favorite. Oh, we didn't get into Damien.
Damien.
I have a love-hate relationship with.
Most people do. He's one of those characters though that have evolved pretty well. He's he started out pretty rough.
Red X.
Oh,
I should have known that. Hey, and my wife came up.
I do. Yeah, Red X. Was it Teen Titans Academy?
Right?
In the comic,
it was from the cartoon series Teen Titans.
Yeah, but there's a new series of comics, and I want to say it's not Gotham Academy.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's something Academy. But he's in that as Red X.
Okay, it was Megan that came up with it. She told Brenda. So Megan is still playing our Tito just for memory. Good job, Megan. Anyway.
But Damien started out. Yeah, I mean, when he was introduced, he's been bratty for a long time. He's a little pissant, he's just, and you got to think of how he was brought up. He was raised by the League of Assassins. His whole goal was to, they created him. He wasn't, born out of love. He was born out of necessity and science. And
now I think that depends on the storyline you follow too, because from the storyline I knew, Talia kind of got a little, if it's possible.
She roofied Batman, right?
Yeah,
it was non-consent, that's for sure.
And
good term. Yep. So that's how he was created, and it was with the goal of him one day becoming the leader of the League of Assassins, and that you were taking the bloodline of Ra's al Ghul with the world's greatest detective, the Dark Knight. And so he was much like Cassie, who I'm sure we'll talk about.
I want to talk about Cassie. Yes,
raised as a child assassin. And then he kind of gets dropped on Daddy's doorstep and has to fit in. And he's much like Jason Todd. He's a character who is totally fine with killing and creates a lot of friction. But it's made for some of the best stories because, and I, I'm a little partial now because I'm a father and I have a son. But like the father-son dynamic and Bruce teaching him how to be a better person and him adjusting him to normal life, and when we're not, slicing people up with a katana.
Which that's not one of the reasons I dislike Damien. I just dislike him because he's a jerk.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with him wanting to kill. I'm fine with that. I like Deathstroke. Deathstroke's one of my favorite characters, and he will easily kill you. But Damien has just come off as this little.
He's a pissant. Yeah, he's a punk. He's a little punk. He sure is. He's a little bit better in, because I'm a big fan of the Super Sons series, which is him and John Kent, and I think pairing him with John was perfect, because it definitely has allowed for him to, open up a little bit emotionally and be a little softer and let something in that you didn't think that he would. He's got a friend, and he cares about this kid who, and that was actually one of the biggest things I always loved about the Batman Superman series, is the whole, you've got Batman, who's this, it's like the goth kid and, a Boy Scout being best friends,
I like that.
Sure. Yeah. That's a good person.
And rubbing off on each other, and just, it's showing that, unlikely people can be the best of friends and be there for each other. And I think he's like that series alone, he's grown leaps and bounds. So that was really the series that made me kind of like, all right, I like him now.
Okay.
He's got potential to be a good kid.
So that should be on my reading list, is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's a really good series.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yep.
I like his dynamic in Deceased. In Deceased, he's pretty good. In Deceased, he graduates real quick to the Batman, though, because, well, spoiler alert, Batman gets zombie-fied. So.
I haven't read it yet. Spoilers. No,
let me help you with that, Steven.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, he's on the cover. So
he's the cover, dude. He's right on the front of it as a zombie. I don't think that's much of a spoiler when it's on the cover. Of the... Jeez. But yeah, Damien ends up taking over the Batmantle in Deceased, and he's pretty good. I like him there. There's been things that I like him in, and then there's things that I just can't stand him in.
Yeah. So I killed him off. I thought Damien got killed.
He did for a little while. Yeah, but like every Robin that dies, they bring him back.
Okay.
Tim's died. I have a shirt that's called it's the Dead Robins Club. Because they all have, including Stephanie. So Stephanie had a fake death, and Stephanie is a Robin. So
a
Stephanie Brown.
Yeah.
She's listed as Batgirl.
Well, she's done a few different. We'll get there.
She's a couple.
Okay, sorry.
Trust me,
she has a couple different things. Yeah.
She's one of my favorite characters. Her and Cassie are two.
I've never read her, but I hear things about her.
Yeah, I mean, she resonated with fans like big time, so much that fans were in an uproar when she died, and there was a big controversy because there was no memorial in every Robin that has died and has gotten a memorial in the Batcave, and she didn't get one. And so the big argument was, well, DC doesn't look at her as a Robin. Like in the storyline of War Games, she was like made Robin. Batman made her a Robin just to lure Tim back because Tim had left. Wow. Tim and Stephanie have a history together. So
right, yeah, that I knew. But
yeah. So he like the reasoning for making her Robin in their eyes wasn't valid. It was just a ploy. But fans thought differently. Fans were like, we like her as a Robin. We like her as a character. She's been through enough. People were upset just the way that they wrote Batman towards her, because Batman was, he's most of the time, especially in the beginning, he was a jerk to her.
Batman usually is a jerk to the Robin. Yeah, I mean, most of them. That's why they messed up.
But yeah, I mean, she's on my shirt, so she's a Robin.
I love it. I love it.
If it's on Derek's shirt, it's official.
Yeah. So if everyone's listening, Derek just showed us his shirt. It's red shirt. It's got black lettering on it, and it says, "Go in order of what it says." It says Dick
and Jason and Tim and Steph and Damien. It's all the Robins.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know where that started. That whole like so and 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 so. But I see it everywhere. Like they've got Chandler and Monica and for friends, and they
right.
Right. But I saw this. I had to have it.
Nice.
Right. Okay.
I was going to ask, did you have that made up, or was that?
No. I found it on a website. I was like, gotta have that.
Nice.
That's cool.
That and the Dead Robins Club shirt.
No, I have a Robins shirt. I haven't worn it in a while because it's getting a little tight on me. But I have a, I forget the company that used to do these, but they do these funny parody shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I use Redbubble is where I usually get them.
It's like Redbubble, but it's one of the other ones. Anyway, it has two Robins. One of the Robins has got a Batman cowl on it, and he looks at the other Robin and says, "Don't call me Robin."
Yeah, cute.
There's some good ones. I collect them, so I've got a pretty big collection of Batman related shirts.
Nice.
Love it. Okay, so hang on a second. So are we done with Damien? So Damien comes back.
Yep.
He comes back, and then now in Deceased, he takes up the mantle in Deceased.
But Deceased is like a one-off, so it's not really part of the main storyline. It's one of those.
Oh, okay.
Short run.
Because isn't Dick Grayson? Now Dick Grayson's taken up the mantle, right?
He did for a while too.
Well,
he's not Batman anymore, right?
Right. In the past, Dick Grayson and Damian were Batman and Robin for a short time. I think
that was during the Grant Morrison run, and that's one of my favorite runs. I prefer the Grant Morrison stuff.
Doesn't Batman go missing or something during that time?
Because then there's a whole thing about him coming back. There's it starts in Batman R.I.P. and then right. I forget the name of the one that brought him back, but yeah,
because I think Commissioner Gordon almost immediately realizes you're not Batman.
It's not. Yeah. Yep.
You may be somebody, but you're not Batman. He knows it, and I think the Joker realizes it too. I think the Joker keeps calling him fake Bat or something to that extent.
Yeah,
this is so exciting. My reading list gets bigger and bigger.
There's a lot. Yeah,
there's going to be a lot on your Geekdar,
and a lot of my Geekdar now.
And Morrison's run also introduced Duke Thomas. So, it was before he was Signal, but that run came around that time as well. It was because in Endgame, and that was actually, I think, was it right before Batman disappeared? I can't remember if it was before or after, but Joker kidnaps his family because his parents had saved. It was after, because at the end of when they have like a big there's a hurricane, like a man-made hurricane, and it floods Gotham gets like destroyed by the Riddler, and he ends up his parents save Bruce Wayne. They rescue him. So to lure Batman out, Joker kidnaps the parents of Duke. And then there's like a whole storyline in Endgame where there's a Joker toxin that affects the whole city, and everybody gets Joker-fied. And Gotham City citizens have gone through a lot. There's not a lot. They're probably the most resilient people out there.
There's no way I'd live in Gotham. No way.
Oh, I would love it. My kind of place.
I don't know. I don't want to get Joker-fied, so.
But yeah, that run was a good run. I like Morrison's stuff. Okay. I prefer Snyder. Much more bigger. Yes.
All right, I'll count that. Drink up. Thanks, Brenda. My reading list is getting much more bigger.
We'll take it.
Cheers, everybody. Okay.
So now, before we get into Signal, there was another African American, because wait a minute, what's Signal's real name again?
Duke Thomas.
Duke Thomas. There was also another African American in the Bat family, but he was Batwing.
Batwing. Yep.
Okay, and
there's been two of them. Oh, I prepared to inform you on him as well. I knew you didn't know. Yeah.
I love this.
I mean, I knew that he was a character because I go to Barnes and Noble all the time, and I'm looking at I constantly look at the trade paperbacks, and I've come across a few of those with him, and I'm like, who's this guy? I don't know this guy. So.
Yeah, and there's been two of them. He started in Batman Inc. There was a series where Batman had kind of, formed this network of Batman all around the world.
Yeah, I hated that. Sorry.
Well, it gave birth to this. And then he becomes he drops the mantle. The original choice that he had for Batwing was Lucius Fox's son, Luke Fox. And so Luke Fox gets the mantle, and he, it becomes more. It shifted from an African centered story, which in the Batwing comics that they did a series of Batwing, and it started off with the heck is his name? Hold on,
David Zavimbi.
David Zabimbi. Yeah, yep. It started with him, and then it transitions to Gotham and Luke Fox.
Okay, sorry. He was
Steven's Tito today.
Yeah, you're right. I'm Tito today. You guys keep talking. I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah, Zavimbe. And that was in Batman Incorporated, which was Morrison, and then Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti, I think is how you pronounce it. They created the Luke version. They took over the comic, and then they brought in Luke as the new one, and it changed to a Gotham story, and now he's over there, and he's got his little flight suit, and making Daddy proud.
He kind of resembles a flying squirrel.
Yeah. And I mean, he's had some appearances outside of the comics now, so he's getting to be a bigger character. He showed up in the Bad Blood animated movie. He had a cameo show.
He was in that.
Yeah. And the Apocalypse War, the Justice League Apocalypse War.
I haven't watched the Apocalypse War.
Yeah, he was a cameo. He gets shot down by a parademon, so he's not in it much. But and then he's on that, and not that anybody really watches it, but he's on that Batwoman show. I guess in the most recent season, he put on the suit, which
okay. So he's still around and still active then.
Yeah, and actually he was in that when Rebirth started, and they did the in that team that Batman and Batwoman put together. Batwing is a part of that. He joins up a little bit later. It starts off, it's the Detective Comics. It starts off, it's Batman, Batwoman, Clayface, Tim Drake, and Cassie as Orphan, and then later on as Azrael. Who had taken over during Nightfall.
Yeah, I enjoyed that storyline. I had that whole Nightfall.
I did too.
Night Quest,
I love the Azrael Batman. I love his look. I know it's so 90s, but it's so cool looking. I used to have an airbrush T-shirt with that version of Batman. Fantastic.
He's a cool looking one. Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of the character. Although I do like him in the Arkham series, the video games. They bring him back, and he's
That's right. Yeah,
I don't know.
Pretty cool
I like
in the Rocksteady games. Yeah.
But and then, Steven, have you read enough to have a favorite Robin?
I have not read enough to have a favorite Robin. Ouch.
No. No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, me.
No.
Oh gosh.
How many have you known?
So I've known Dick Grayson, of course.
Yep.
Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Who's the Robin in the Dark Knight Returns?
Carrie Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we got to get into this because Dark Knight Returns is my favorite Batman story. You don't like?
It's Mark's too. I'm sure if Mark's listening, he knows.
I haven't seen him in the chat.
Not one of my favorite characters.
Really? See, I like her. I like her.
I don't know what it is. I really can't even pinpoint it, but I've never liked that character. No. Especially in the second one, and when she gets the cat outfit, and I've only read the first series. I never read past the first series. Yeah,
I don't know. They all looked weird after the first series.
Yeah,
I probably
Yeah, I was just saying, I was just kind of going through them, and then there's Damian Wayne. So those are the ones I'm exposed to. So I have always enjoyed Dick Grayson. But actually, I have enjoyed Damian Wayne's story. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to read Super Sons. So I really want to see it because
if you like Damian, I think you'll definitely like those.
Okay.
Well, and they're coming out with animated movie.
Yes. Yeah, they dropped a trailer recently for that. I didn't even know it was coming. I'm psyched.
Oh, that looks
great. Yeah.
Superman brings John. I think it's John, isn't it? Bring
Jonathan Kent
into the Batcave, and John is geeking out over the Batcave, and then Damien is like, "You're a nerd."
Which is exactly. That's exactly their dynamic. I love it.
Yeah, that looks
Good morning,
great,
Brian.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a review of that one. That looks really good.
Yeah, it looks good. So Damien is probably your favorite, or?
I would say I'm curious into Damien's story arc.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So, yes, I've always enjoyed Dick Grayson because of his leadership, because of who he becomes, and especially Nightwing and that kind of a thing. So, but I've always been interested to see what happens with Damian Wayne.
Yeah, Brian is talking me up, and now I'm nervous. I don't want to. I got a lot to live up to now.
Oh no! Don't be.
Hey, Brian. Good morning, Brian.
Morning, Brian. So Brian jumped in and said, "Derek is the walking embodiment of Michael's DC encyclopedia." I love it.
Right.
Yeah, my favorite is honestly Tim. I think that he. Like
really,
I really like he's how smart he is, and just I feel like he's the embodiment of what Robin should be. He's like he's as good as the Bat, and
especially in the detective side, kind of a thing.
Yes. When you say dynamic duo, that they're I think the most. Although Dick obviously was great, and he's probably my second favorite. But I prefer Dick as Nightwing.
Agreed. I'll go with that. Yeah.
Like I like him off on his own. So
I get what you're saying, but Dick is the Robin. He's
the quintessential.
Right. Yeah. I guess I just don't consider him as Robin much anymore because he's so established
so long.
Yeah.
And he's an adult now. Like that's the thing is Teen Titans, they made him grow up, and you don't see people age in these comics. So when you do, and they stay, he can't be looked at as Robin anymore because he's an adult.
I have to admit, like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with Damian. Sometimes I love the character, and then there's other times I can't stand the character.
Yeah.
I think lately it's been leaning to where I enjoy him more as Robin. And like you said, I like him as the dynamic duo. Yeah. When he and Batman are working together and not against each other, they're probably one of the best dual combinations in the story, the whole Bat family, Bat, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. The Batverse.
The Batverse. I like that. So let's move on to
some
Stephanie?
of the unknowns. Steph, yeah.
Oh yes, I want to hear about Steph. I don't know about Steph.
So Stephanie she's such an awesome character. She really is one of my favorite, and she's had some like some of the best storylines. She started out in Detective Comics number. I had to write down the issue numbers because I'm never gonna remember. But not Detective Comics number 647, 1992. She was a minor character. It was not meant for her to stick around. She's the daughter of Cluemaster, and so the whole reason why she gets the Spoiler name, which is she starts dressing up. This character Spoiler shows up and starts like basically throwing a wrench in Cluemaster's plans, foiling every time he tries to do something, he's getting foiled by this person.
The Spoiler.
Yeah. And then you find out it's his daughter. It's his daughter is on the right side of the law, and she's not a fan of her father. And then
she's not a fan of who? She's not
of her father. Of her father. Yeah.
It just your accent came out. I loved it.
Oh, of her father. Father. Spoiler.
Now, just to clarify, Cluemaster is like a second-rate version of Riddler. He's not up to par of what the Riddler is. And honestly, I wouldn't consider Riddler a top-tier Batman villain. I would consider him more of a B-lister. Yeah. I'd never considered him one of the A-list. Not
them's fighting words, Michael.
now Hush upped his game. And that was the whole purpose of Hush, actually, which we've covered Hush. Hush is a fantastic series.
I like the idea of him more. Like, I would love to see him just be like a Saw, kind of like a Jigsaw guy, like in the Saw movies. He,
oh, you mean like
traps, and you have to, Batman has to solve the riddles or solve the puzzles in order to save the people. Like, I like that dynamic. I don't like
Derek talking about a horror Batman. I love
Gotta bring horror in. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, and that's why he was awesome. Like that is how the Riddler should be, is, and that would up his game. I think that people would have a lot more respect for that character if he's not the hokey Jim Carrey, like, oh, riddle me this, like. but I digress.
No. I like the original Riddler from the 1966. I can't think of his name. I like him better than Jim Carrey's
Frank
version.
Gorshin.
Yeah, Frank Gorshin. He was way better than Jim Carrey ever thought of being.
Yeah.
and
Jim Carrey just brought that Jim Carrey over the topness.
You ain't kidding.
Ruined that movie. So don't get me started on Batman.
I love Jim Carrey in certain movies, but in that one, he was that was too much. Definitely too much. But now, as far as the Riddler goes in the new movie, I like the Riddler. Just get rid of that whole S&M outfit that he wears. I hate that. I hate that stuff.
But I agree. Cluemaster is like a second-rate version of him.
Gotcha.
So there was, he ends. Tim Drake ends up, becoming friends with her. He kind of like he's on her trail as the Spoiler, and then they become friends. He goes undercover. I forget the name of the character that he does, but she ends up having some really good storylines. They bring her back, and there's like one of the big ones. There was like a really big teen pregnancy storyline that they did with her, where she is, she ends up pregnant and she has the baby and gives the baby up for adoption. And it's some deep stuff that, like, really, especially at the time, early 90s, like, but she was like, she ended up becoming more like the Catwoman to Tim Drake's Robin. She's, kind of a bad girl, not like, she's not completely a vigilante, like 100% good.
Right.
Kind of, it's kind of, they've got the same type of dynamic that the two of them had, which was cool. And I always loved that. I loved the Tim Drake Steph Brown stuff. I preferred that. And I was kind of sad when, when they moved away from that and they're no longer together. And but she's had a good run. She ends up, like I said, she becomes Robin. Batman makes her Robin in order to lure Tim back. She ends up, well, I don't want to give too much away, but she's a big part of War Games, the War Games series. And she,
You already said something happens to her because they didn't memorialize her.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true. So yeah, so in War Games she dies, but it finds that you find out that she faked her death, and that it was at Batman's behest. She ends up with Leslie Tompkins takes her in, and kind of keeps her in hiding. Yeah.
Now Leslie's Bruce's doctor, if I remember right?
She's been a bunch of different things. Like I remember, like on the animated series, which was the first time I was exposed to the character, she was like kind of like a neighborhood doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like the night nurse kind of a thing.
But a lot of times she's like, she's been, not so much a doctor, but like a medical, like involved with the police, kind of like a, who they go to about things.
Medical examiner kind of a thing.
She's been a psychologist. She's been, she's run with Stephanie. She was running a clinic for, like a clinic, some type of clinic, like basically for taking in refugees or whatever.
Gotcha.
So yeah, she is I would consider her part of the Batman family.
Yeah.
But
I would agree. Yeah. It makes sense for Batman to have somebody with a medical background. I know Alfred has this whole military background to him, and he has some knowledge in medical because of his military background. But it would only make sense that Bruce has to have some kind of doctor on call that he trusts. So I always thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important for him to have allies outside of like outside of Wayne Manor. People that if people are in, especially in this type of situation, like he needed to send Stephanie somewhere, so he sent it to her. Luckily, he has that person to go to.
I forgot about that. In Gotham, she was Fiance and turned bad. Yep. Yeah.
In the TV series Gotham?
Yeah, in the TV series. Oh. The TV series Gotham started off really good, and then they veered into these weird...
Yeah. Well, because they had, they felt the need to bring in all these villains, and it's like, it's hard to have. It was a hard concept. The idea of a Gotham City without Batman, like a Batman show without Batman,
right?
So,
but you had the perfect guy for the Joker.
Oh, I know.
Just completely.
He was awesome, and I like that they basically used that show to kind of put a bunch of different versions of the Joker that we've seen in the comics on the screen.
Yeah, but I didn't like the way they did it. The dynamic of it just didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea that he was twins, like
his
brother, I didn't like that either. But I mean, overall, it was cool to see him as like this, kind of slick gangster looking one.
Sorry, I just saw Brian's comment.
Oh, geez, Batmite.
Brian, stirred up trouble, Brian.
He only says that because he knows that I actually like Batmite.
Oh boy, he's the Scrappy Doo for the Batman gang.
No, Scrappy Doo.
Scrappy Doo. Scrappy Doo's stupid. No, I actually started to like Batmite from the Batman Brave and the Bold cartoon series.
Mm-hmm.
Because Batmite is just fantastic, especially the final episode of the Batman Brave and the Bold, because Batmite comes in and he has this idea that if he gets rid of the audience, that he loses the audience, that he will get a more a realistic animated Batman that's more true to the character, instead of this campy, silly Batman that we've had for Batman and Brave and the Bold. And it was such an ingenious idea because, I mean, I had no clue it was the final episode. And I'm going, this feels like a final. What the heck is going on here? And then you get to the end and you find out that's it. It's done. And then they have the final scene with Batmite, and he's sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden he gets a promo. Oh, the new Batman animated series. And he's like, yes, here it comes. This is what I've always wanted. And they're like, it's in, it's in 3D. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. And then it's Batgirl, not Batman. Yep. And he's ticked. He's like, I didn't want Batgirl, I want Batman. And then all of a sudden, this eraser comes in and starts erasing him. And he's like, and they're like, and you realize that if there is no Batman, there's no Batmite. And they get rid of him.
It's like those Looney Tunes.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I thought it was an ingenious episode.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. They incorporated all the goofy Batman action figure, all the multicolored, action figure costumes and all the silly accessories, all that stuff. It was such a fun episode. So that's where
I've stayed away from him for the most part. Brian's asking, was Batmite in the comics first, or was he in Hanna-Barbera?
No, I think
Super Friends.
I think he was introduced in the comics. Actually,
was he? Okay.
Hold on, let me
get
pulling
out the DC Encyclopedia.
I know Batmite's in there. Continue talking while I find it.
So she ends up she becomes Batgirl. Eventually it's actually the first Batgirl run, a single series that they did for Batgirl was her. It was August 2009. And I dug her as Batgirl. I thought she was a good one.
She did real well.
Yeah, and I almost feel like they should have kept her as Batgirl. I'm one of those people. I don't like that they went back to Barbara Gordon. I think Barbara Gordon should have remained Oracle and remained paralyzed, because I feel like making her lose her ability to walk, putting her in the wheelchair, but then making her a strong character still and being able to still be part of the team. I think for people who are disabled, I think that was a great character to look up to. Agreed. Just, for them that, you can't magically get to, not everybody gets to magically get back, the ability to walk again.
That's why we have a multiverse, by the way, so that you can have two different versions of Barbara, which hates multiverse. So I have to bring that up. Which I love. I love that version of Barbara, and I love the Oracle version. They're both fantastic. Of course, I love the Oracle because I love the Killing Joke. It is my all-time favorite Batman story. So, Batmite's debut was in Detective Comics Volume 1, number 267, May 1959.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Whoa.
So he's been around for a while.
For a long, long time.
Still alive.
Batmite's pretty old. A little limp old, man.
Well, I'm glad I can add that now to the memory bank. That's
right.
Oh,
1950 something. Something like that. Whatever. Okay, I got to move off Batmite because Batmite, whatever, Schmite, whatever, blah blah blah. But I got to know about Cassandra Kane.
Okay,
because you guys had mentioned her. We did an episode together some time ago. We mentioned her. I'm like, who is this? And it sounds so intriguing. So what's the story with Cassie?
So, and this is based on like the original stories. Obviously it changed a little bit with New 52 and with Rebirth, but originally she started out, she's the daughter of David Kane and Lady Shiva. And it was before Lady Shiva becomes Lady Shiva.
Wow. Okay. So my first introduction to Lady Shiva was in Night Quest.
Night Quest. Yeah.
Wait. Was it Night Quest? There were, Nightfall, Night Quest. It was the one where Bruce Wayne was coming back and he went to Lady Shiva to start training.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Derek. Go ahead. Keep going.
So she much like Damien, she was created essentially. Even though it wasn't. Not created. She was created with the intent. Like they had this child in order to make her this, great assassin for the League of Assassins. Gotcha. She had a very bad upbringing. She was sheltered. She didn't speak. She was mute and illiterate. She was literally just she was just a silent killing machine. And so she made her first appearance as Cassandra Kane right before the No Man's Land. And No Man's Land, big storyline. she ends up being the Batgirl in that. They kind of like introduce her, and then later on you find out about her past.
Okay.
So part of her abilities, she has the ability to read people's movements, like so much so, like she can just the body language and everything. She can tell what someone's feeling or thinking,
Wow.
and which makes her, pretty one of the most deadly assassins. Like it's perfect. So on her first outing like her first actual job, she reads the victim, the would-be victim, and she doesn't like, she sees how scared and that this situation's making it, and she decides she doesn't want to be a killer. That like breaks her, and so she runs away, and that's how she ends up in Gotham. She's like dresses up as Batgirl for No Man's Land, and kind of ends up involved with Batman through that. And then over time, she's become this she's a quintessential member. She's one of the most important members of his team and the most trusted. I think he legally did. He ended up he legally adopts her at some point. But she does learn to speak. She actually ends up losing that ability for a while. There's a whole big storyline where she like loses the ability. She ends up there's a telepath that helps her speak and be able to communicate. And when they're messing with her mind, she loses the ability to read people the way that she used to. So she's not as effective, and so she feels like a failure. And she ends up like finding out that Lady Shiva has that same ability. She doesn't know that she's her mother. She has no idea, because she left as soon as she was born. David Kane raised her, and Shiva like went off to become Shiva. And so she seeks Shiva out and asks for her to teach her, teach her that ability. And Shiva says, on one condition, like, you have to fight me to the death. And there's a big battle, and she ends up she refuses to kill her. Like she's not like that. So, but she ends up eventually getting all that stuff back, and now she's kind of back to normal, but she can speak, and she doesn't say much, which is cool. Like I like that she's very soft spoken, and she's kind of but she's like one of the biggest active members for him. He sends her undercover. She ends up undercover as Kasumi, I think. Yeah, Kasumi in Justice League Elite. Huh. And she's a big part of that new team. She did become, she was Batgirl, and she was Black Bat for a while, which I dug her as Black Bat. I thought that was a cool moniker, but now she goes by Orphan. So Orphan is how she's known now in Batman and Robin Eternal.
But now Cassandra Kane, like in the TV series, is Batwoman, right? Or am I getting that?
No, you know what though? I think in the animated movie Legend of the Batwoman, I can't remember. It's been forever since I've seen it, but I think Cassandra Kane is the Batgirl in that one. It's definitely her look where you can't see her eyes. It's Mystery of Batwoman, so she's Batwoman in that, but it's the Batgirl costume.
I've watched
that. It was like it came after the first two animated series movies, Sub-Zero. But yeah, she goes by Orphan now, which is actually one of the monikers that David Kane used. So it's like in honor of her, because when they did Rebirth, I don't know if it was in Rebirth or New 52. When they tweaked her storyline, they made it more as if he was a better father, and so like it's not as traumatic, her upbringing, which I don't know why they did. I think the trauma adds to these stories. It's really one of the best things. I mean, I tell people all the time that like one of the biggest things that make me a fan of Batman is the Rogues Gallery, and it's because that they all have these deep backstories and real deep reasons for being how they are. Well, most of them do anyway, the majority. And it's the same thing for the Robins. They all have these traumatic backgrounds, and I think it just makes it even more, much more better.
Much more better.
Oh, nice one, Derek. Cheers.
Yeah, I mean,
well played.
I love that. That's why I love the Bat Family so much. Is they put the fun in dysfunctional. They, you've got all these different, kids, and just the idea. I had an idea a while ago. Like, I thought that they should do like a reality series style thing with just, with the Waynes, with not as, don't show them in their costumes, but like, just what is life like at Wayne Manor? And they kind of, they
sounds like a sitcom.
Yeah. Well, now they have a on webtoons.com to publish. It's called The Wayne Family Adventures. And it's essentially that they're little like small comics. Webtoons does these.
Somebody scroll through, Derek.
Right. I know. Like I'm sure maybe they will listen to the podcast one night and like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll draw that.
I'll take that.
But that one is really fun. Like if like, I definitely, I think that people that want to know more about that side of the Bat Family, like check that out, because you get a lot of their home life.
It's got
that's the big draw.
4 million likes.
Oh yeah,
50 million now.
Yeah, it's
50 million watches, 1.1 million likes.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
there's 47 episodes.
Because it's great, and like that's such a draw. Is like how they live. I do fan fiction. I've written some fan fiction. And I'm on a website called Archive of Our Own, and every now, it's been a while since I've written, but I still get comments and kudos. Like I'll get the email notifications that people commented or read something and liked it. And the ones that I get the most are, there's a story that I wrote about Cassie, and then there's a couple different vignette kind of things that I did about Wayne Manor and about them as a family.
Oh, cool.
There's one where like Vicky Vale comes to do an expose on the Waynes, and there's a one that I did with like Christmas at the Wayne Manor, and those ones get the most. I think that people just are. I'm not. It's nice to see that I'm not alone in my love for them. Like and
sure.
Like they just, it's so appealing, I think, to have those types. But I think that like the trauma that they all each bring, it just adds to it. It makes them what they are, and so I don't like it when they take things away from the past, from the storylines.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not a fan.
So you said
you should go on what's been established. That's
yeah.
How I feel. I hate it when they blatantly change something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
things that don't need to, especially things that don't need to be changed.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, what were you gonna say, Steve?
Oh, I was just making sure the website Archive
of Our Own. Yeah.
.org.
Yeah.
And then if I was want to search your stuff, how would I find it?
Gotham Rogue 30. I think Gotham Rogue 81. It's either 81 or 37.
All one word?
Favorite number. Yeah, yep. But I think
Gotham
it's 81.
Rogue 81.
Oh, Brian,
there's actually there's a link on our website, on our podcast website, 3G.
Oh, so 3geekydads.com.
Yep.
And that's the number.
The number 3.
I wanted to make sure you get that right.
Exactly.
Because that's even your line.
That's my favorite part.
I've tried to do that with us sometimes too, and Steven doesn't catch the joke when I do
it. Wait, what was that? No, I'm just kidding.
Yep. There you go, ignoring me again.
and Brian, if you're and if you're following this on Facebook, Brian actually just put the link in there. So thank you, Brian.
Oh yeah, thanks, Brian.
Check my stuff out. I really do want to get back into it. So I've got a few things, and as usual, nothing that is on there is finished. It's all like, I had a hard time because there's a lot of on there, but they're very short, like short chapters, where I could write on, and it'd be very long. People don't. I guess apparently in the fan fiction world, they don't like reading them like that. They want short, succinct chapters. So
are we allowed to say what you told us before in our pre-show? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Mark from Three Geeky Dads, we've talked about before. Mark is a artist, and he has his own comic book werewolf with a chainsaw. Which
yeah,
love the title.
yeah, it's fantastic.
So you were telling us that you may be writing a story for one of them.
Yeah, I had a story, like a series of novels, like a novella that I kind of came up with when I was young, like in high school, and I have been kind of chipping away and changing things and writing like a little bit at a time over the years, but I've never really done anything with it. And he suggested possibly writing it as a comic book and finding, either him or having finding another artist and having them publish it. And they could probably he gets published through the comic book store that we always talk about, Rubber Chicken Comics. They're the ones that are helping them get published, and they sell it there. And, they do that for a few different writers and artists. So I think I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to write it.
Why not?
I would love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it'll be fun. It's got aspects. It's actually it's about a family, and they're Dompiers, which are basically day walkers like Blade is.
Okay.
Okay.
So and it's kind of like a mix of Underworld and and Blade, and I guess, and just kind of there's like a big crime family, and it takes place in Boston because that's where I'm from and that's where I know. So I'm gonna stick to what I know.
Right on.
But he's got 2 daughters and a son, and much like the Bat family, they're all different personalities, and they kind of bring different points of view to the table. So I and I tell the story from their points of view. So like different chapters will focus on different members of the family. But yeah,
cool, very cool.
Yep.
So now, if you had to give a recommendation to anyone wanting to get into the Bat family, what would your recommendations be?
So I definitely would say Super Sons. I mean, you kind of have to. There's not a lot of like good stories that really focus on all of them and let them all shine at the same time. But definitely, I would say, the Super Sons for sure for Damien, because that'll make you kind of start to like Damien. It's a it's a good thing to do.
I'm excited.
He's a pissant.
Yeah. The Morrison Batman and Robin, with Dick and Damien, like we said. There's a new series called Batgirls. It's actually it's about with just Cassie and Steph, and they're both using the mantle with their costume, with their Batgirl costumes. They live together, and it just started recently, I think in December. But that one's kind of fun. It's just, fun little story with them. The other one that's a really good one is We Are Robin. The We Are Robin and the Robin Wars storyline, that you actually do get to see all 4 Robins together in the Robin War. And that also, that'll introduce you to Duke. Duke becomes a Robin in that one. One of the Robins. The whole storyline is that a bunch of kids in Gotham, they've decided they're going to be vigilantes, and they take on the mantle of Robin. All of them have like the Robin colors and the emblem, and they start fighting crime. And then there's they end up meeting. Huh?
That sounds like in the Dark Knight Returns, when the leader of the gang or whatever, when he lives with Batman, and they all become, what is it, the sons of the Bat?
Sons of the Bat. Yeah. Yeah, similar to that. And it's cool, but you get a lot of, all these different kids. There's like one main team, and that's what Duke ends up joining. And then they end up getting trained by the 4. The 4 Robins show up, and they're like, if you're going to take this mantle, this is a legacy. So you got to do it right. And kind of helps them out there. And then Duke becomes closer to them, and that's how he kind of gets introduced into the family. He eventually becomes the Signal. He spends, he's basically given that costume and that name by Batman. Batman like trains him for a year and says, all right. And he is essentially the daytime vigilante. He's the one that's out in the day. He's a metahuman also. So he has abilities, and like it's a complex kind of power. it's called photokinesis. It deals with light and shadow. Like he can manipulate light and shadow, and he has like it affects his vision. So he has telescopic vision, microscopic vision. He can, ultraviolet, like he can basically see things at X-ray. But he also is able to take light and use it to refract to create kind of a footprint of things that happened recent, like cool. in a room or whatever. Like he can see who is there, and even some stuff with the future. You end up finding out his parentage is a big part of that metahuman thing.
That power must suck when he goes to a hotel, by the way.
Yep.
In the room. Can I get a different room?
Sorry, you've tried every room here. I don't know what to tell you.
It looks like a Jackson Pollock painting in here.
So he's the newest addition between him and Bluebird. And Bluebird is one that people don't know much about at all because she's very rarely used, which is sad because she's a pretty cool character. Harper Row. She's actually. I should say that some of these characters are going to have a lot more exposure coming up. Unfortunately, it's on a show called Gotham Knights on the WB, and it doesn't look very good at all. I was so excited for the idea of it. Now I'm like, nope. But Stephanie's going to be on that. And Harper Row and her brother Callum. It's a really cool storyline. I figure. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up when it was because I
thought it was gonna be a video game too. They're making a video game called Gotham.
Nights, right? They share the name. Gotham Knights is the video game, and unfortunately, it's only going to be on the next gen systems. It's not going to be on PS4, which is what I have. So I'm not even going to be able to play it until I get a PS5.
I'll let you know. I have a 5.
So Harper was created by Snyder and Capullo, and she shows up in it was around 2012. She ends up meeting Batman because he helps her with he saves her brother. Her brother Callum is gay and he's getting gay bashed, and so she saves him first, and then Batman steps in, and she ends up stowing away on Tim Drake's plane for a mission. And there's a storyline where they, he kind of, obviously he doesn't like that at first, but then he, the two of them, get to know each other, and she ends up becoming Bluebird, which she's like a tech whiz. So she creates, a bunch of cool weapons, and she increases the tech that the Waynes have. She kind of helps them out sometimes. And then and her mother was killed. She's done more trauma by Cassandra Kane. So when they changed her and they made it so that she does kill, one of her first kills was Harper Row's mother. She ends up forgiving her. She knows that it wasn't. There was a storyline where in that storyline when Cassie was there in with David Kane. There was an entity called Mother, and Mother was kind of running the show and giving her the targets and stuff. And this Mother character tells her to go after Harper Row's mother in order to get Batman involved, because Batman had known her. So it was. She's a pretty cool character. She's going to be, like I said, she's going to be in Gotham Knights. She appeared in Young Justice, one of the newer seasons of Young Justice. They did something with her, but definitely one of the least known ones.
Right.
But her and Signal are the newest.
That's cool. That's cool.
Awesome.
It's a big extended family. I always say that it's nice because he started out as such a loner. Batman was all on his own, and he ended up taking on Robin, but he's the stoic guy, and you don't really look at him as a father. And now he's got all these kids, and it's fun to see. Definitely check out webtoons, the Wayne Family Adventures.
So while we were on, I signed up for an account and I added it. subscribe.
It's free.
To
It's a free website.
free.
You got to log on and create a username. But it's an interesting format because they're short. They're short comics, and you basically scroll up to read them.
Oh, okay.
So they're horizontal, not horizontal, vertical. They're vertical comic strips.
Yeah, it even says that on the Batman Wayne Family Adventures, get the app, and you can get 4 more new episodes on the app. So I guess they're trying to get it's probably app.
Yeah, that's what I use. I use the app on my iPad, and it's there's a ton. They have a ton of issues if you want to call them issues.
Sure,
but it's good, and that's definitely one that'll make people fall in love with the Bat Family if they're not already.
Nice.
I'm on it. Thank you. Thanks, Derek. That's a good recommendation.
Like I said, I could talk about them for hours. I really do love it's one of my biggest passions is the Bat Family. So I hope you'll learn something, Stephen. And
I learned something today. I learned myself something from you. Yes.
Good.
So has Derek talked about how awesome Carrie Kelly is yet?
We did talk a little bit about Carrie Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah, we did, Mark.
I know that Derek was not a fan of Carrie Kelly.
Mark is a big fan of the
all right, Mark. Yay. No. Does Mark like Batmite?
I don't know. I don't know if he does. Honestly, Mark, I think that you're one of the first people I've ever heard say that they like Batmite. So I don't know. Maybe Mark makes too.
Well, I'm telling you, that last episode of Brave and the Bold kind of made me a fan of Batmite. I always thought
I'll have to check that out. I may, maybe it'll do for Batmite. Maybe it'll do what Batmite, for Batmite what Super Sons did for Damian.
There you go. Yeah, if you don't like Batmite, I get it, but at least watch that episode because it is hilarious. It is a great episode, especially after you realize it's actually the last episode. Because when it was going on, I'm going, "What the heck is going on here?" Yeah. And then
I was Brave and the Bold is one that I never checked out, mainly because it's kind of goofy. It's a goofy version.
Well, okay, Brave and the Bold, being a old school comic book fan, the original Brave and the Bold series was a lot more serious. Much more seriouser.
Much more.
Here, I'll go with it. I'll drink.
Anyway, and it just took Batman and put him in with unlikely characters, It put him in with the Green Lantern, it put him in with Green Arrow, so on and so forth. So when they came out with the cartoon series, I was really excited. And then I saw the first, commercial for it, and I'm like, what did they do to this? It's goofy. What? And then I watched it, and I actually fell in love with it. I thought it was great. It's different from the comic book series. It is not the same at all. But it is a fun series. It's just fun.
I'll have to check it out. I know it's on HBO Max, so I'll have to check it out.
But if nothing else, watch that one. And they do these great things where they have this short little story at the beginning, and they do this little short clip. It's maybe 2-3 minutes long. And then they go into the intro for the show. And that little short clip has nothing to do with the story that's in the episode. It's just its own little thing. And I always thought that was kind of fun too. And just check it out. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, Mark. It looks like Mark's a big fan. He said Brave and the Bold was excellent, and the whole Starro saga was very well done.
Yep.
So he also wants to remind everybody that he taught me everything I know. It's true. I am his Padawan.
So Mark's the elder statesman.
That's right.
He's your Bruce Wayne. That would be more appropriate in this conversation.
Exactly.
You're his ward.
I am. I'm his dick. And now I get to expel my knowledge. So
Well,
so yeah, it's definitely, Stephen, I definitely recommend those series.
Okay.
To get to know them. And there was a series of, it was Batman and the Signal. So there's that.
Okay.
Signal and I think Signal and Cassandra Kane, but there's the new Batman and the Outsiders. I think that's what the Detective Comics run that I was talking about, that team has kind of evolved into a new Batman and the Outsiders.
okay.
The Outsiders was a group, for those who don't know, that Batman put together originally with Black Lightning, a few other people, kind of like a underground team thing for special occasions. And he's back at it again with, I think, Katana's on it. And I almost want to say it's the same team as that Batwoman Batman team.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Woo! Well, we have gone an hour and a half.
Oh my
Holy
God.
moly,
Sorry.
guacamole, Batman.
That's good.
Good stuff.
I figured this would go a little longer. I'm fine with it. I know one listener who's going to go, "Hey, you went over your hour mark, dude." Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Thank goodness my podcast saves my place.
Exactly. You can always stop and come back to it later. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Well, I think we should probably start wrapping up this episode. Derek, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about
I
it.
appreciate you guys having me. It was a blast. Anytime you want to talk Batman, I'm always game.
Well, that's what I figured. I threw out the idea, and then I was like, we need to have Derek on because I know how much you love the Bat family, and I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm not quite as in depth as you are, but that's why we had you on. So, yeah, anytime you want to come geek out on Batman stuff or anything DC for that matter, you're always welcome.
Appreciate it.
Derek, I just have to say you are now my guru on the mountain for all things Batman. So thank you.
It's like that with a lot of people in my life right now. People always come to me with any of their Batman questions. They're like, "Oh," I get messages on my phone all the time. Anytime anybody I know like finds some type of picture online or some funny thing, Batman, like a Batman Christmas tree or whatever, they send it to me.
It's
the same way with me for both Batman and Star Wars. I get that. In fact, there are times where I'm like, I don't want to tell them I already seen this. It happened.
Right on. Oh my goodness. Great job, Derek. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. I enjoyed the Three Geeky Dads. Every single one of you makes us laugh, and this was no exception. So thank you for a great time.
Oh, I loved your last episode when you guys covered the Thing, John Carpenter's Thing. I've never actually watched the Thing, and
I remember you. I saw that you said that.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, you guys sold this movie so well. I've got to go back and watch it. So that'll probably be on my Geekdar coming up soon.
Good. Nice to know that we're putting those things out there and getting people to do things.
You guys are in
our sway over the audience.
Definitely.
Love it. Oh goodness. All right, everybody. Well, for all things Three Geeky Dads, go to 3 3.
Oh, you were supposed to let Derek say that.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
3gdpodcast.com. That's the number 3 gdpodcast.com. And you'll have links to our Facebook, our Instagram, all our shows, a bunch of different fun stuff under each of our names, our bios. Check it out. Hopefully we live up to all the hype that you guys give us.
Oh man, I love your show. Your show is great. It's so fun.
Yep.
Yeah. I got introduced to your show because Brian had reached out to me in the Podcast Nation group on Facebook, and he and I have talked about this a little bit before, but I kind of blew him off at first when he messaged me because I don't know who this guy is, you know?
Yeah.
And then I kind of said, I don't know. That's a Steven question. And he's like, who the heck's Steven? I'm like, well, you must not listen to our podcast. Otherwise, you know who Steven was. Yeah. So we had a rough beginning, but after that, it was not great.
No, it's been good for that. We've it's nice that we've been able to kind of network with, you guys and Marco from Entertainment Rants. We've had him on the show, and there's a lot of good stuff out there, a lot of like-minded individuals, and it's nice to know that we're
going on. Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Nice to know that we're all out there.
Yep. All right. Well, also everybody, our website is 2 geeksmike.com.
That's the number 2.
2 geeksmike.com. Also the same part. That's kind of our hub for all things in our 2 Geekdom world. So you get to our Facebook page, our Ko-fi page, if you want to support us. We just released our latest sci-fi episode.
Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Jason and I, it was great seeing that again. So our reviews on there, we do have 3 tiers, $1 a month, $2 a month, or $3 a month. At $2 a month, you can get the audio, but at $3 a month, you can get access to the video.
Oh,
so
and even give a shout out to one of our supporters because he's on the show right now.
That's right. He's on the show. So that's how you get on our show, folks. You got to pay us. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm looking forward to that one. I'm a Harryhausen fan, so I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Yep,
Cool.
That's the one. Yep. So
we had fun recording that. That was a good one.
Yeah, so we appreciate the support, everybody. It does help us go pay for all things podcast related, all the stuff you got to pay for. But anyway, we appreciate it. Also, there's some merch page. Mike does some neat stuff with the merch, so you can please check that out as well. And that's pretty fun. And anything I'm missing? I think
Discord.
Yeah, so if you are a supporter, you get to get on our Discord server. You get to automatically, once you become a supporter, it should pop the link for you for Discord. So that's where we have some interactions and things like that. So we're still building that. So it's pretty exciting.
Look at that, Michael. You didn't need Angie to remind you. Or
her and Megan are both in the back of my head. So I have them in my head going, don't forget Discord.
Michael needs more coffee.
I do. I'm out of coffee, dude. And we are getting ready to record our next Ko-fi only episode, which will be Twilight Zone, the movie. We will be comparing the movie to the original episodes that inspired the movie. Which actually I am a fan of both the film and those individual episodes. I've been a fan of Twilight Zone since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Love that show. So I'm really looking forward to this, and we're gonna have some fun stories and interesting facts about the movie. We'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Alrighty, Daddy. Well, hey, Mike, with that, I'll let you sign us out again, Derek. So glad you were here with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for being with us. With that said, over and out, and see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you for joining us today on the 2 Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
may the force be with you.